Today took an aerial tour of the coastline. He landed at several stops, among them Belmar, the beachfront community where a lot of folks approached him. Many of them, remember, have just lost everything in this storm. And we have the governor live with us tonight. Governor, I heard you say you're operating on 2 hours of sleep from last night, so we'll try to make this quick and painless. First of all, let's establish that what happened here, you can meet people from Kansas to Seattle who all share childhood memories of the Jersey Shore. It's kind of a universal truth. We're dealing with the places of childhood memories for you and me and a whole lot of other places, boardwalks where we still take our families on summer weekends. Describe what you were able to see of what's left from the air today.
Brian, it's unthinkable. Let's say this, I flew over the Seaside Heights Boardwalk today. The roller coaster, the log flume ride are in the ocean. The boardwalk in front of Lucky Leo's, Brian, is gone. It is literally gone. The big sausage and pepper stand in the middle is gone. It's gone. It's off. You just, all those kind of iconic places that you and I knew as kids are gone. And you see that up and down the Jersey Shore, Seaside Heights, towns in Long Beach Island that are underwater. It's just unthinkable. Belmar, the entire boardwalk in Belmar is gone, and it's 2 or 3 blocks up the side streets away from the beach. All you see is water and sand and debris where boardwalk used to be.
It's unbelievable. You just named all those landmarks that I know so well from July and August weekends. So here's the question. Are the rules of the game changing? The shoreline that used to be enough, and not just Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, is that not enough anymore? Are you on the precipice here of a massive shoreline reconstruction? This is your summer economy. It's part of the beating heart of New Jersey.
Yeah, listen, we're going to have to do an entire re-examination, Brian, because let me tell you, the other thing you notice, from Belmar, really Asbury Park, down to, the end of Long Beach Island, the beach is gone. It's gone. And we're going to have to re-examine how we deal with all of this now as we go through a period of rebuilding. I'm committed to rebuilding. We're going to do it. Because, as you said, it is not only the heart of our economy, it's the soul of New Jersey. The Jersey Shore is the soul of New Jersey. And we're going to rebuild, but it's going to take some time and some effort and some resilience. But those are all things that New Jerseyans have in abundance.
So the Jersey Shore you and I knew long before it was a TV show. You think there is a way to fortify it while preserving it, while keeping its essence as a kind of summer playground, even though nature often proves that when nature bats last, nature wins?
Yeah, I think there is a way to do it, Brian, but we're going to have to sit down and be smart about it. Because I saw in places like in Avalon, where there were significant dunes that were built by the Army Corps of Engineers, they did much, much better than some of the things that were done in the northern part of the shore. So one of the things I'm going to be talking to the president about tomorrow is bringing the Army Corps in immediately to talk to us about how's the best way to rebuild the Jersey Shore.
And when people who don't have interests on the Jersey Shore, have never visited, have no interest in seeing it make it, see this in a world of shrinking resources, is it fair to ask why you, why the money, why the effort, if this is the new normal?
Well, listen, it's fair to ask it, but I have the answer. The answer is that for New Jersey, which gives so much to this country, by the way, 50th in return of our federal tax dollars. So New Jerseyans send more than any other state in America in federal taxes, getting back less. When that's done, and you see that our state is a state that needs this to contribute to our economy and also to the soul and the vibrancy of our state, I think we have very good answers and arguments to make, and you can count on one thing. You're looking at the guy who's going to make those arguments.
Governor, thank you very much. After a long day, another long night, Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey may see you over there tomorrow, joining us from the command center there. As we mentioned, this is a coastal story. This story reaches from New England, as we saw earlier, all the way west to the Midwest, but places like Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and right where you're seeing there, Connecticut, specifically Old Saybrook, right there on the water, Long Island Sound. NBC's Stephanie Gosk has our reporting from there. Stephanie, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Well, the story of destruction on the Connecticut coast is going to sound very familiar. The surge came up fast and high, reaching to about my shoulders. It was then that one of these houses back here caught fire from a downed power cable. It then set the neighboring house on fire. And of course, there was nothing the fire department could do because of all the water here. They couldn't get in here until later on this afternoon when the waters receded. They did what they could to put out what remained of the blaze, but at that point, the houses were already destroyed. Connecticut, like the other New England states, as far north as Maine, are in a state of recovery. That means that residents from communities like this one are coming back in to assess the damage. And the residents of Old Saybrook are in something of a state of shock. That's because last year, Hurricane Irene came in around the same time and did extensive damage. They spent the year trying to repair that damage, only to have their houses damaged again last night by Hurricane Sandy. We talked to a lot of them, and they actually added a silver lining. Hard to imagine amidst all of this damage. They said, you know, even with the damage and the floods and the fires, no one in this community was hurt. That's because when they were told to leave, that's exactly what they did. Brian?
Stephanie, it becomes so relentless. You can hear millions of people from New York to L.A. just kind of saying together, what is going on here? What are we witnessing? Stephanie Gosk on the Connecticut coastline tonight. And let's talk about the immediate impact. All the people who might have had travel plans along the Northeast travel corridor. You look at the websites that supply those icons that show flight traffic. All of those icons represent jet aviation, except where this storm was churning yesterday. Everything up and down the coast came to a complete halt. And this is today. So we've seen a little bit of an improvement, those icons encroaching, heading east as the first baby steps are taken. Tom Costello has been at Reagan National Airport, where, Tom, I've noticed all day long that concourse behind you has been just dead, still empty. Is it still that way?
If you look really closely, you'll see there is a single Delta plane sitting out there, and there was another one just a minute ago. So we are starting to see airline operations here limping back, if you will. But if you were here earlier today, you know that this place was a ghost town, really deserted. We saw no one coming or going, no planes at the gates. By noon, the first Delta and AirTran flights arrived with passengers and began flying a small number of flights out of here this afternoon, mostly headed to Midwest or southern destinations. But all three New York City airports remain closed tonight, and as you have seen, LaGuardia experienced significant flooding right up to the jet bridges and well onto the airport ramp. Now, the Northeast airports, they make up about 25% of air traffic in this country on any given day. So when you've got New York City out of the picture, you see significant delays all across the country and the ripple effect affecting hundreds of thousands of people. Here are the latest numbers we have for you right now. We have 7,000 cancellations as of this moment today. So far, 1,875 cancellations planned for tomorrow, but that number will surely rise. Total number of cancellations over the past 3 days, now 18,100. Tonight, the airlines still have many planes out of position, sitting at airports around the country. The job now is to get them and their crews back into position to start flying a regular schedule, but that's going to be very difficult. The airlines tell us it could be days or a week. We just got an update from Amtrak. They tell us that their tunnels in the New York City area are flooded. Northeast traffic on the Northeast corridor significantly disrupted. Some traffic south of New York, but if you're going through New York, up to Boston, up to Canada, up to Buffalo, you're going to see significant disruptions and cancellations. It'll be a long time before they get up and running. Brian?
It's just been an unfathomable disruption of life on the East Coast and elsewhere. Tom Costello, thank you for updating us on that aspect. And then there's the cost, the replacement cost, what's been damaged, the loss of business, all of it. And it's early estimates right now, but we've brought in an expert to at least start that job. Tyler Matheson is with us from CNBC headquarters. And Tyler, it is all guesswork, and the numbers are going to be staggering when we do know them.
They absolutely are, Brian, and it is basically guesswork. But no matter how the numbers add up, the reason Sandy will rank so high among the costliest storms is that it took dead aim on a region that not only has some of the most valuable real estate in the country, but accounts for nearly 25% of U.S. economic output, 10% in the New York metro area alone.
Nowhere did Sandy hit harder than on the Jersey Shore. Today, it's a mucky mess of ruined homes, boats, and businesses from Cape May in the south to Sandy Hook in the north.
This storm is of a catastrophic nature, and property damage throughout the state will number, I'm told, in the tens of billions.
Of all the hard-hit towns, none was walloped worse than Atlantic City. Its 12 waterfront casinos shuttered at a cost of $5 million a day in lost revenues. All told, estimates are that Sandy inflicted $20 billion or more in property damage. But that may not be the half of it. Business losses could total another $30 billion or more. In New York City, the Uniform Place has been closed for 2 days. Owner Deror Askarinum says no electricity means no business.
We'd be short a couple of $1,000s.
And while Broadway shows are dark for a second consecutive night, the stock exchange expects to open tomorrow after the longest weather-related shutdown since 1888.
It's important for the stock exchanges to be open tomorrow because tomorrow is the last day of the month, and mutual funds report their profits and losses to their investors depending on what the prices were at the end of the month.
Economists say the storm could hamper economic growth in the short run as people have less money for holiday shopping. But rebuilding may ultimately mean more jobs.
It should add to job creation because what you're picking up now are a lot of construction workers who really have been, sitting on the sidelines.
The other bit of good news?
There's going to be little to no effect on gas prices from this storm because we've had very little refinery supply disruption.
That's about all that's not disrupted on this, the day after Sandy came to town.
One more thing, Brian, lest you think the storm's effects are purely regional, some analysts say that everyone's premiums for homeowners coverage could rise next year as insurers rebuild their reserves.
Well, what an interesting question. Are we witnessing the start of the largest public works program ever? Tyler Matheson from CNBC Global Headquarters. Good to see you. Thank you very much for being with us. Well, you've heard us say it's the new normal. What's changing about our world? And yes, people are already wondering if climate change has to do with this storm that is still spooling itself out tonight. We'll be back with more on that.